yoga flow practice back on our backs. So let's go ahead and head back to your mat. You can start with your spine rested completely flat on the floor or bent knees. Of course, if you'd rather start seated, maybe it hurts to lay on your back, you certainly don't have to start on the floor, but whatever kind of grounding place you can find as a way to invite in a little bit of breath. Today's yoga flow practice is going to involve lots of time on our mat, releasing tension, finding our breath, allowing us time to relax and settle into poses, but also maybe challenge ourselves and push a little further into others. Today's practice will have several twisting motions added into the poses. Now, if you notice that starts to bother your spine or just doesn't really work well for you today, I'll be offering different modifications as to how you can make those poses more appropriate for you. As we rest here on the earth, perhaps you bring your hands out to the sides. Maybe they lay on the ground with palms facing up towards the sky. Maybe it feels good to take them up over the head and reach and give yourself a nice long body stretch. Maybe a cactus shape even feels nice. You might allow your head to sway a little, your nose to shift back and forth on the ceiling. What other gentle movements feel good to you? Go ahead and embrace those. Start connecting with the breaths that you have within your body. Let those grow deep. Let those be full. Today's opening intention is entitled, Give Away Your Gifts. In helping others find the truth, in helping others, you find truth. In seeing others, you find yourself. In helping others, you find the missing pieces to your healing. In acknowledging others, you come into close contact with grace. And if you want to keep these gifts, you must continue to give yours away. If you want to keep these gifts, you must continue to give yours away. Truth, yourself, healing, and grace. If any of those words resonate with you today, I encourage you to hold them close and near. If the mind starts to sway off the mat today, maybe you come back with the word grace or healing. Slowly start to add some easy movements into the body. Maybe if the legs have been long, we'll go ahead and walk the knees up the mat. Outstretching arms to a T shape, baby knees, rock a little easy right and left. Maybe we'll bring those knees back to center, hug them in close to the heart to give ourselves time to just take a little rock from right to left. Hugging that right knee in towards the belly. See if you can let this left leg go long. Maybe it just is a little tap here on the earth or long stretch. Roll those ankles, point and flex the toes. And then welcome this right knee, maybe slightly over and across the body. Now it's really early in your practice, so if that feels like too big of a shape, don't take it fully to the floor. Taking your time, we'll ease this knee back to center. Give it a little hug. Switch the grip to the back of the thigh and elevate foot towards the sky. This opposite leg may need to come up the mat like a little kickstand, or you might feel okay with it long. Maybe the hands even begin to slide a little bit up the back side of this leg, nose coming towards knee, maybe pushing through that heel, a little bit of a spider pose. Softening that knee, we'll switch sides. Opposite knee comes in, opposite leg goes out, head rests on the earth, point and flex toes, roll ankles. Maybe even sway a little bit to get the outer edges, inner edges. Knee welcomes itself over and across the body, maybe opposite arm stretches out to T. Remembering it's early, so if that shape doesn't sit real great with you, it's okay. Don't take it so big. Give yourself a little grace as we start today, knowing maybe it's been a little bit since you've been on the mat. For some of us, months. For some of us, weeks. For some of us, just a day or two. Whatever that timeline may be, we put tension back into the body just with everyday tasks. Bringing that knee back to center. Release the leg up towards the sky, point and flex, roll the ankles. Remembering this opposite foot can create that kickstand shape if you need it. Hands slide up, knee moves towards nose. Maybe you out push that heel, giving yourself a little activation through the core in a spider shape. And then speaking of core activation, this knee is going to bend. Head stays up, chin stays lifted. Switch. Switch. Keep breathing. Releasing the head down if it's too much tension in the neck. Use those core muscles. Last round. Good. Feet find earth, hands stretch long, neck relaxes, shake the head a little right and left, maybe even let your knees do a little dancing from side to side. Then we'll walk the heels of the feet a little closer to the glutes, hands come down on either side of the hips, set for your first bridge pose. Inhale to lift the hips up off the ground. Arms press gently into the earth. Imagining you have a block or something in between those knees, trying to hold it in place. Hips are lifted up towards sky. Next natural inhale lifts heels up and then easy lower this down one vertebra at a time. Let the soles of the feet find one another, knees fall out and open to the sides. Hands move up around the back of the head. And give yourself just a couple little crunching motions here. You can, of course, skip this and just lay in that bound angle. Last one. Beautiful. Hands come down. Set those knees back up to the sky. Hands on either sides of the hips. Bridge pose, lift it up. Maybe this time your heels walk a little closer. Maybe your shoulders walk a little bit underneath. Or you can just relax in whatever version of bridge feels best to your body. Remembering that bridge pose, we have a little tension in your glutes, but nothing's clenched. No pains happening in the low back. If the low back's achy, you might be a little too high. So sometimes I have to lower my hips. Reset, rethink. Heels lift up off the ground. Exhale, bring us back down to earth, please. Taking your time. Last thing to hit the mat is going to be those heels. Knees come into chest. Rock them around. Roll out any tensions added into the low back. Legs extend one more time to the sky. Hands on backs of legs. You can stay right here or slide those hands up a bit. Perfect. Taking time, knees bend, and we'll rock and roll a little bit up to our seat. Perfect. Find that seated posture. Nice tall spine, hands reaching out to the sides, head lifting up. Let your head just shift a little bit right and left. And then we're just gonna barrel roll through the spine here. So just kind of imagining your spine is down inside a barrel and you are just trying to hit all edges of that barrel. Opening up the outer edges, front side, shoulders, back. All right, my friends, bring that to stillness. Reach the hands up high above your head, and then just exhale and fold down, hands stretching out in front. Head hangs a little bit heavy. Inhale, bring that back up. Switch out your feet. So you've been sitting normal, crisscross, go the opposite way, and then fold again. It's gonna feel funny, gonna feel weird. Often does when we sit the funny crisscross. Inhale, bring that back up. Exhale, let your hands either travel to heart or just break apart. And let's find tabletop. Look at your mat here. Let's get those shoulders and wrists in a nice straight line, and your knees and hips in a nice straight line. Kind of rocking around a little bit, maybe playing with pressure in the hands and then back towards the hips. Maybe just a couple more rounds there. Hands and hips. Hands, and then hips. The next time you come back forward to hands, take the right hand. Actually, let's do a cat-cow first, sorry. Reverse that, cat-cow, belly drops. And then round the spine. I forgot we hadn't really done much flexion just yet, so let's really make sure that front side body gets a good stretch. Especially if when we tried a little bit of core sequence, you were like, wait a minute, what? Sit-ups and yoga, get me out of here. Round that back. All right, put yourself in a nice tabletop. Now let's try right hand directly underneath your face. Inhale, breath, lift that left hand up to the sky. Gaze upward, give yourself your first little twist. Exhale, hands come down, switch sides, opposite arm lifts. Oh, that feels nice in the front side body and the shoulder. Beautiful work, hand comes down. Curl the toes under, take your first down dog. Nothing big here, just a usual down dog, kind of walking that out. A little bit of weight transfers back towards those heels, towards the hips. Beautiful. Knees drop down to earth. Right foot steps forward towards your right thumb. Maybe you invite in a set of blocks. Lean into that front foot. Lean into that front hip. Of course, watching this low back, let it stay full. Don't let it get all droopy on me. So most of us are pretty tight here, so we can't sit too deep into that. All right, just if you've been using blocks, great, maybe stand them up. If you're not using blocks, that's okay too. Fingertips to the ground, just rotate out of that shape. Exhale, take it forward, back down. Inhale, release it, take it back up. Back, forward, and down. This time, bring your left hand in close towards that right foot. Open up, same twist. Exhale, bring this hand to earth or blocks. Curl toes under on that back foot, and then you're going to repeat again. Hand comes in, hand lifts up. It's just a bigger shape. If this shape's too big, knee just drops right back down to the earth. Hand comes down. If you're using blocks, you'll flip them to their shortest side, step foot back, downward facing dog. If you're not using blocks, it's just a traditional down dog, nothing fancy. Walk it out. Knees drop to the ground, left foot steps forward, same series on the other side. Start looking at this hip flexor on this front leg and on your back leg, just really releasing into that shape. Maybe take a moment to breathe. Revisit one of those words, truth, grace. Taking care of yourself. All of that happens in our self-care Saturday flow class today. Start lifting those toes back up, sitting back towards heels. Start shifting weight forward, back into that foot. Let's go again. And back out. Place this foot back down. Right hand comes in towards front foot. First twist, the knee is on the earth. Now the cue, since I can't see everyone, make sure that this front knee is still staying in a nice straight line with those toes. If it wants to fall, that's okay, but make sure that your foot kind of goes with it. All right, hand comes back down, curl toes under, lift up, and then take that shape again. Perfect, hand comes back down to ground. Flatten these blocks out, put them on their lowest side, step back, downward facing dog. All right, my friends, I think it's time to really move us. Get a few sun outs, sun salutations. If you are ready, step, hop, or jump. Feet up here to the front of the mat. Find your first half lift and fold. Inhale, reach hands up and overhead. Exhale, down to heart. Half sun salutation, up and fold. Half lift and then fold. Up, hands to heart. I'm gonna add on just a slight movement this time, up and fold. Walk your hands towards the left side of your mat. Stay in that fold. Back to center, half lift. Fold. Plant feet, reach up, look up. Hands to heart, let's go again. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. This time walk your hands to the right edge of your mat. Back to center. Half lift. Back down. All the way up. As you exhale, let your hands fall to the left. Inhale, bring it up. Let your hands fall to the right. Let's go again. Inhale up. Left. Up. And down. Hands go tall. Big exhale, fold to the earth. Half lift when you feel ready. Exhale down. Right foot steps back. Spin that right foot so that the heel finds the ground. Front knee has a decent bend. Arms come up. Sink into your version of warrior one. Warrior one, our hips are headlighting straight forward. Arms are lifted, shoulders are relaxed. Exhale, chest goes down, arms reach back. Inhale up. Exhale down. Keep moving and breathing. Here it is. Good work. Hands go back up. Straighten this front leg. Exhale, hinge slightly at that hip crease and just reach the arms out in front. Now, if you're getting a lot of tension in this knee, you can have a soft bend, but see if we can draw this hip back and just extend. Big hamstring stretch. Soften that front knee, hands come down. Spin on the back toe. One more of that same twist. So if you've got your left foot forward, your right hand comes towards the inside, and we open for that same big twist we did earlier. Exhale, hands down. A little hesitation there. I was trying to make sure everybody was still with me. All right, step this foot back. Maybe use blocks, maybe not. You're in down dog, walk it out. And then you're just gonna shift back and forth from down dog to traditional plank. Down dog to plank. Maybe one more. Use that core strength, ladies and gents. Hips lift back up. Small steps or a large leap. Feet move up to hands. Half lift. Stay with your breath. Exhale, fold. Inhale up. Take your time. If you're a little behind our pace, that's all right. Follow you. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Half lift. Exhale, fold, left foot steps back. Spin, touch that left heel, decent bend in the front knee. Arms are up. Warrior one. Get comfy in that warrior. Get those headlights shining straight out in front. Watch this back knee. Any kind of weird tweaking or pinching, let's fix that, and then fold. Now you had 3 of these. We went up on the inhale, and we went chest forward on the exhale. Watch your spinal line. See if you can keep that spine nice and straight, chin away from your chest. Hit that 3rd one. Once you come back up to the top, we're gonna straighten this front knee. Start thinking about drawing this hip back into the body and just a slight lean forward. You might make it here and your hamstring says, no, stop. Or you might be able to get a little further. Some of you are maybe reaching all the way down for a set of blocks. Depends on what day it is as to where mine stops or what I've been up to. So don't ever feel like you gotta take a shape that isn't working for you. One more breath there. Let it draw back up. Knee softens. Hands start looking for the ground. Spin on that back toe. You're gonna take your left hand in close. Opposite hand, 2 foot. Same twist we took earlier. We're gonna hold just for a moment. Stay in that shape. Hands back down to earth. If you're using blocks, flip them short, step back, down dog to plank a couple more times. If you want to skip this and just take a traditional vinyasa here, feel free. Depending on how your front side body feels or how your shoulders feel, a vinyasa might feel better than what I'm showing you. But if core strength has been on your to-do list, good. Today's class should feel nice. Hips lift up, small steps with feet. Let them walk forward. Hang in that forward fold. Give yourself an inhale, breath up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach hands all the way up. And just bring them to your heart. Let's get 3 full breaths here. So a nice big inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reach hands up. Exhale, sit into a chair. Take a breath there. Exhale, fold. All right, step back with that right foot. Let it spin all the way parallel with the back of your mat. Start to bring yourself up. Look for a warrior 2. Arms reaching wide in a T. Kind of gazing out over those fingertips. Reverse it right away. So just take it right in when it feels good. And then up and over side angle. Just give yourself 2 more of those. So just the peaceful dance you know so well. Nothing overly fancy here. Not even really getting that deep into the poses. I'm just trying to let that side body lead the way. Let my breath slow down a little bit. Once you've taken a couple rounds, just settle into a nice traditional warrior 2. Front knee straightens. I'm gonna take this back hip and just give it a slight turn, maybe even step it in just a little, and then reach out over hip. Look for triangle. Maybe hand goes to the outer edge, the inner edge, the calf, the shin, the thigh. See where you can feel comfortable in this shape. Trying to keep whatever design is on your t-shirt, maybe shining out into the middle of the room. Swinging that hand that's in the sky, send it down towards the floor. Start pivoting on both feet. And then you're gonna drop this front, or the back knee rather, down to the ground. Now we're going to be here just for a moment in somewhat of a lizard shape. So if your knees have gotten a little bit bothered from being down on the ground, you can reach for a blanket now. See if you can take both hands. I'm going to pivot just a little bit. I don't think that's going to make viewing me any easier. Okay, never mind. Both hands in the center. And you're going to take, you've got your left foot forward, you're going to take your right hand and just stretch it underneath. And then switch hands. Put your right hand back on the mat, take your left hand and stretch it back towards your right hip. So I'm going to turn just so you can see what my arms are doing. So I go under, and then I go under. So just take your time there. And if you need to kind of, like when you reach under, you kind of lean in, and then you come back off, and then you lean in, and you come back off. And this foot can walk out a little further, maybe ankle out to the side. That might help that hip feel a little better. Last one. Put the hands back on the mat. You're going to take this front foot and just step it back. Both knees are now on the ground. Shift to a kneeling plank. Belly lowers. One cobra. Back down. Hands shift back even with the breastbone. Curl the toes. Push to your knees. And then I want you to lift to a whole plank. So get those hands out from underneath your shoulders. All right, there, perfect. And then start inchworming or bear crawling backwards. Perfect, half lift. Fold. Inhale, reach. Hands come down to the heart, close the eyes, and then take 4 steps. Feel your mat. Eyes are closed. Walking up the mat. It's a little bit scary to walk with your eyes closed, but trust that your mat is there. There's nothing in the way. Once you feel like you're close to the front of the mat, give yourself an inhale breath. Reach up, look up. Exhale, take that chair again. Hold for a breath. And then fold. Half lift. And then fold. Left foot steps back. Spin it. Parallel with the back of the mat. Looking for warrior 2. Take your time. Create that warrior shape in a way that suits you. Watch your alignment, reach your hands, and then begin to dance. We did about 3 of these last time. And they weren't really at any set pace other than just following your own rhythm of breath. So if you don't match me right now, please don't try to. Just do your own thing. Trust that you know how this one works, and just do your thing. Back into that warrior 2 when you feel ready. All right, front knee straightens. Check this back leg. Maybe your foot needs to come in just a little. The hip needs to turn. Arms reach out, pull that hip back into the body, and then tip to find your version of triangle today. Maybe it's on the outer edge or the inner edge. Listen to your hips, see what feels good. See if you can turn that design on your shirt out into the middle of your space. Hold that triangle and breathe. Watch the tension in your shoulders. See what's happening with your neck. All right, taking your time, we'll slowly come up out of that shape. We'll begin to cartwheel forward and down, twisting on all the toes here so that things get in the middle of the mat like we want them. Knee drops down. This changes from hands on outer edges to hands in the middle. This foot switches so it walks further away. Let it walk over there. Get in that lizard. You can stay in traditional lizard or take those Little stretches, so the hand reaches underneath the leg first, then back to the mat, and then underneath the other arm, and then back to the mat. Last one. Perfect. Start to walk this foot back to center. We're going to step this foot back, take the same movement we took before, knee goes to ground. Start to lower down, belly to the earth, one cobra. Take your time, walk these hands back. Maybe you curl toes under, push that high plank, or plank on your knees. And then maybe get your hands in the right spot, then lift to high plank and start bear walking back. Forward fold. Hang in that forward fold. Shake the head, yes. And no. All right, bring yourself up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold the hands. Just bring your hands down to your heart. All right, perfect. Plant those feet in the middle of your stance here. Close your eyes. Take those same 4 and trusting steps as you walk forward. Hands come down away from heart. Let them rest to the sides of the body. We're going to put weight into the right foot and just begin to lift this left knee. Now we're going to do it dynamic for a little bit. So the toe will kind of hang out here towards the earth, and then we'll lift that foot back up. Then we'll go back down, and then we'll lift it up. So you're playing with strength in your hip flexor right now. Balance, of course. Last one. And the next time that knee's up, keep it up. See if you can take right hand to the outer edge, left hand maybe back here to your hip. Maybe even start to kind of turn your chest. Maybe reaching left hand long behind, hold. Perfect, hand comes back to hip, hands switch around up front, lifted leg, let it step back just for a moment. And then I just want you to kind of play here. So just roll around on the balls of your feet. Let your hips kind of have a little bit of space. Now, if you notice, my feet aren't near as far apart as they would be if I was like in Warrior 1, or my biggest stance is Warrior 2. So I've just got kind of like scissored legs right now. I want you to think about that same pose we took earlier. Remember when we did the straight leg and we leaned into this shape? I want you to take that again, but the leg that you have forward, your right leg, your left hand's gonna come down and kind of tap maybe like the outside of your thigh, outside of your shin. Some of you may go way down here, probably not, but maybe. And the other hand just kind of slides back and hangs out here on your hip. So if you went straight into it, you've been there for a moment. One more breath. Chin away from your chest, it's not a necklace. Beautiful, bring this back up. Soften that front leg, step forward, give your hips a little wiggle. And now we play with the other side. Left foot to your standing leg. Out with those right toes. Lift them up, tap them down. Now, depending on your pace last time, you might have done this 5 or 6 or 4 or 3, who knows how many times you did it. It's okay if we don't have this like perfect match from one side to the other, but we try to get close. All right, next time that knee's up, leave it up. Offer hands to the outer edge, maybe turning chest towards that knee. Maybe the other hand reaches out, palm facing outward. Stay in that shape, one more breath. Start to send this foot long, toes tap on the ground. All right. Now this is where I kind of started playing. So see where you are. Don't put your feet too far apart. The further your legs are apart, the more difficult this is. The other thing you can think about is that when I step this foot back, it doesn't step behind this other leg. It steps as if I was like on railroad tracks. So that's kind of what you need to be thinking of too when you take that twist. All right, arms reach tall. We start to slowly lean into that shape. Take opposite arm to the outer edge. Maybe this other hand just comes back towards your hip. This is one of those, for me at least, that a little bit goes a long way. I have a really tight IT band, which is this band of muscles along the outer edge of my knee and heads up here into your hip. All right, take your time. Those who've been there for a minute, start to come out of that shape. Take that big step forward. Maybe roll those hips a little bit. Perfect. One more big twist, and then we'll head to the earth. So I'm starting to kick a block so that it's about the middle of my mat. I'm going to step really wide on my mat. I'm going to check my toes, so you do the same at home. Make sure that your toes are making a nice, good straight line to one another. See if you can stretch those arms wide or drop the shoulders down from your ears, get kind of wiggly. Make sure this stance feels good to you. And then take a big fold. Knees can bend if they need to on your way down, or you can keep them straight. Maybe you reach for that block and you put it underneath the stance. Right hand's gonna find earth or a block. Start to lift your left hand up. Bring out those internal organs. Now, I don't know if in your mode that you're on right now, if you can actually even see yourself. Depends on how close you are to your own screen and if your little box is up there. But ideally, your top hand is stacked on top of the bottom hand or slightly downward. What I would really rather not see is this big extension of that arm way over the shoulder. That hurt just to even show you. So try not to get into that shape, especially if you have hyperflexibility in your shoulders. In the long run, that won't be something you like. Hand starts to move itself back down towards the earth, towards the block. And then switch sides, cleanse and open. Pause when you stack, where you feel close to that. Think about those shoulders down from your ears. Think about a good, easy breath. Hand comes back down and rejoins block. Take your time to just move your feet, maybe one or two heel toes in closer to one another. And then you're going to start to drop your hips down in between your heels. Now, if you were practicing with a block already, you can slide this block back, sit on it if you'd like. You can use this block as a support for your wrists, your arms, your head. Or if you don't have a block, that's okay too. And this next twist is very optional. Please don't feel forced to take it. But if you're feeling okay here, you're going to put a little tension with this left knee onto the inside edge of that left arm. Reach your right hand up towards the sky. Hand comes back down, switch sides, same thing. So there's a little tension, elbows pushing out while the knees kind of pushing in, and then you lift up with the opposite hand. Hand comes back down, let it look for mat. Good. Now I'm gonna stay this direction so I can see you better. If you wanna turn yourself a different direction on your mat, you're certainly welcome to, but just start to come out of that squat, however you feel best. Gonna take a crisscross just for a moment, revisit that barrel roll. And then I want to keep my left leg, I'm trying to make sure you can still see my legs, my left leg here bent, just like a crisscross. And I'm going to start to stand a right knee up. I'm going to give you two options. First option is that you take this right knee where it comes even with the bottom of the foot, and then my left foot is kind of tucked back behind me. If you can sit comfortably in that shape, take that. If you cannot, if that really bothers your hip or just doesn't sit well with your knees, your option is to just take this foot and rest it out in front of you, okay? If you're okay in this shape, your next option is to perhaps take your chest a little bit turned towards this front knee. Now, some will stay right here. Some may reach for a block and fold deeper into that twist. That might feel really nice. Others, this is all you need. If you are in this shape, you can do the same thing. Take this foot a little closer to that knee. Just gently turn your chest away from this lifted knee. Give yourself one more breath in whatever shape you chose. Unwinding from that. If you had that foot tucked underneath, start to bring it out. We're going to switch sides. So now the opposite knee becomes the one on the ground. The other foot starts to move back behind us. If that shape works for you, great. Take that little pretty sit. We used to call this a cheer sit. Sit with your skirt. Yes, I was a cheerleader and a cheer coach for a long time. Start to take your chest lifted and turn in the direction of that bent knee. Remembering you can stay here. You can start to lean into this shape. Your other option, instead of keeping this tucked behind, the same as you did on the other side, knee is lifted and you just turn in that shape. So decide which one feels good, or whatever variation in between feels good, that's fine too. And breathe, enjoy, release. All right, slowly starting to come out of that shape, untwisting, back to center. Unleash the legs, just bring them back to traditional crisscross. Take that barrel roll again. And then we're just back to center, hands reaching out, spine is tall, right ear to right shoulder, maybe even right hand comes up. Gentle pressure if that feels good. Maybe even let this left hand do a little bit of movement. Back to center, let's go the other way. You're definitely getting to the phase of this practice today where things should feel like less work, or more of a chance to relax. All right, beautiful, back to center. Any final stretches of the neck or the shoulders? Maybe you need a little bit of movement. And we'll start to head back to our back. So I'm going to turn on my mat just so I don't run out of space. Feel free to start reaching. Maybe you want a block or a blanket. If you have a bolster in the room with you today, you want for Savasana, that's great too. Just take your time. Head back onto your back. Bring those knees in towards your chest. Let them have a little bit of rocking. We're going to take one more bridge for our front side body. If you would like to use a block in that bridge, feel free. If you want to do half the bridge without a block and then keep it close and then reach for it when you start to tire, that's a good idea too. So then the heels start to walk back towards your glutes. Knees are hip distance. Take your time to lift into your bridge shape. Maybe you hold for a breath or two, and then you start thinking about sliding that block under your back wherever you are today. It's fine with me. We're going to be here for about a total of 10 breaths. So you can choose to hold for 10 breaths. You can add a block for 10 breaths. You can go up and down for 10 breaths. You can hold and then release. Or maybe some of you, I can already see you're choosing to lift your feet if you want to go there for 10 breaths. Fantastic. Decide how you'd like to spend the next about 6 or 7 breaths. Revisit that word grace, self-care, yourself, truth. Remembering that each time we give to others, we always get something pretty precious in return. And if we want to continue to receive those things in return, we have to continue to give. But like so many of you here, you know you can't give when your cup is empty. Use this self-care Saturday, this practice today, to refill that cup. If your feet have been lifted, let's take our time to bring those back to earth. If you've been on a block, you can stay there, of course, or continue to listen to me. I'm going to remove mine and bring myself down to earth. Taking my right foot up to the sky, I'm going to bring it over and place it on top of my left knee. Rocking around here a little bit. Left foot leaves the earth and I hug those knees in towards my body. If that feels good to you, kind of a pigeon or a figure 4 on your back, go ahead. Play there for a few moments. Switching sides when you feel ready. Let that pigeon on your back go the other direction. Close your eyes, relax the muscles of your face. Let the breath be heavy. Slowly starting to bring both feet back down to the ground if they've left the earth. Remembering that bound angle that we took early on, maybe that feels good here. Knees fall out and over, and I'm reaching for a set of blocks just to kind of tuck those underneath the outer edges of my knees. You certainly can lay in a constructive rest with knees bent, not out to the side if that feels more appropriate to your back, your spine, your hips. Or if your body is already calling for whatever version of Savasana you're going to take, you can head there. The final moments of every yoga practice are set aside. Set aside for you to really just let everything sift back into place. All the physical asana, all the physical movement is over. Time for us to find whatever version of Savasana we feel best in. And just let our body be. So take your time. Maybe that's flat on your back. Maybe it's rolled and rested on one side or the other, knees hugged in tight in somewhat of a fetal position. Let your body become heavy. Let it feel one with the earth. As I said, everything just takes its time to examine, thoroughly isolate what's most important and useful. Let go of whatever is not, and let everything sift back into place. Continue to breathe deep, resonating with the words truth, yourself, healing, and grace. Truth, yourself, healing, and grace. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing your inhales to deepen, your exhales to deepen. Allow small wiggling of your fingers, your toes. Maybe bending of the knees, bringing them closer to the chest if they aren't already there, or rolling to rest on either your right or left side just for a few moments. As you feel ready, we'll find our way back to seat, hands to hands, palm to palm, resting towards the heart. Spine nice and lifted. Give away your gifts. In helping others, you find truth. In seeing others, you find yourself. In helping others, you find the missing pieces to your healing. In acknowledging others, you come into close contact with grace. And if you want to keep those gifts, keep these gifts, you must continue to give yours away. Give away your gifts. Today's reading came from the book 5 Minute Daily Meditations. I greatly appreciate you taking this time to practice not only with me through the computer, but all the SIFT community that's either live with you or practicing in the content library. You guys, I am just so grateful for each of you that I can continue to share what I would say is a small gift with you. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.